Hey guys, it's RobJ here, and in today's video I'm going to be moving my Messor Aciculatus from where they've been since I got them with 3 workers into the new happy ant enclosure that I got. So if you want to know more about the enclosure that I'm going to be using, it's basically the Happy Ant Empire set with one of the cork nest modules attached. I have done an in-depth review and I'll link that in the top corner now if you're interested in taking a look. So basically at the moment I'm just simply putting some PTFE around the rim because I like to take the lid off and not have any ants on the underside of the lid. So this creates a slippy barrier that the ants can't cross, and I do this in all my formicariums and mainly the outworlds just to stop the ants crossing a certain level. So if you know anything about where they came from, it's like a test tube holder setup. So basically they're housed inside a test tube inside a box. So I was able just to remove the test tube when every single ant was in it and bring it straight into the outworld. As you can see here, this is just seconds later. Right now I've got about 3 escapees on my hands off the side of the camera view, and I'm just getting them at the moment just so we don't lose anybody. As you can see, there's a little bit of frantic panic, but believe me, the slightest vibration can make these ants rather interested, and they've got a really good response to intruders. So right now this is pretty calm for these little twitchy guys, but any sort of vast nest move like this is always going to stir them up a bit. And I can't believe the last time you guys would have saw these properly would have been the colony move-in video. So they've done quite well. They've been in this test tube since you've seen them, but as you can see, the test tube was getting a bit rank, and as you can see by the numbers here, it was full to the brim, especially because this species have got to put a pile of seeds in the test tube as well as the ants. It was full. So I've been looking for somewhere suitable for these for a while, and I immediately thought of this upon receiving it because I really like the nature of it, and it's a much drier sort of environment with not having a built-in hydration chamber. How it's hydrated is basically through any of the caps on the corners. You push water through and it slowly soaks into the cork, and then the cork is essentially the releasing point. So you can change which cap you use, so you never get a mold build up anywhere. It's only really a concern if you're always watering the same corner of the nest. If it's always damp, then you start risking stuff. But if I water a different side every time I water, I'll never have to contend with that problem. And I really do rather like the fact that these ants can chew their own chambers and everything out of this. This is a pre-prepared piece of cork, as I would have explained in my review, but so the chambers themselves that you're seeing now look quite cool, but they were cut like that for the ants. But in future, when this is full and I need to expand it by another module, the module will have a solid block inside it, and they'll have to chew into it and make their own chambers, which I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to them filling this up. It's going to be a long time, at least next year or something, but who knows. But when it comes, I'm excited for it, because seeing what these ants are going to chew out of it, especially being seed eaters, they obviously have the ability to chew. I really think that it'll look rather good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you from the first day that they were moved in to the 5th day of being in the outworld and nest. So this is 5 days later now, and we're back. And as you can see, the water needs refilling, so I was right in the process of doing everybody's water when I thought this is a good time to do the video. Because I've disturbed them by giving them their injection of water. And if I've disturbed them, then I might as well record them as well. And it's like 2 birds, 1 stone. So as you can see, since the last time you saw them, they have actually picked a chamber that they actually want, and have moved all the brood in. This is the chamber in question. This is where the queen lays and a lot of the work is done, and they've also brought in a selection of seeds from the new pile of fresh seed that I put out in the outworld. They very much like going out at night, because I didn't see any seeds being collected and then they just appeared there. So I assume they're doing most of the bigger work just when I'm not looking, probably the early hours of the morning when I'm out. But as you can see a bit better now the sort of numbers that we're dealing with. And it's really rather cool because they're seed eaters and everything, you don't want their seeds to germinate in a damp environment, so this cork nest is really rather good for keeping it dry and the moisture isolated into one section. So, as you can see, they also have brought in a piece of mealworm, and that answers a question that I get quite a bit in my comments. Do I only feed seeds? No, basically, is the answer. I offer them a small amount of chopped up insect and as many seeds as they want. So it's very much a primary diet of seeds, but I will provide them the mealworm pieces mainly because they want it, they take it in and they eat it, and as long as they're eating it, I'll carry on providing it. Now if they never touched it ever, I would reduce the frequency and amounts, probably down to a mealworm a week. But these guys drag it all in, eat it out until it's just a crispy little exoskeleton, and then they put it back outside where I come along and tweezer it out. It works quite well for us both, and as you can see, they have done some significant growing. If you want to see what they looked like when I got them, if you just go to their day 1 move-in video, you'll be able to see that what they came with. They came with 2 established workers, the queen, and a worker that had just enclosed and barely could walk. And now they've got this lovely little colony going here. As you may well know, this particular species is from Asia, or it's an Asian species, so these are actually slightly heated to enable them to be like where they're from as far as climate is concerned. So they're heated because to keep it as close to where they're found in the wild, and this is also so that they also develop at a quite nice rate. So it is slightly heated. For this particular colony, it's a single heat cable that runs under the nest about twice. It comes back on itself, and they really quite like this because I sort of add 5 sort of loops of the cable, and if they move away from it I remove it, and so on and so forth. You're wondering why you can't see said cables? Because I move the colony down for recording, they'll go back up onto their heat cables. Random cables running through you've shot when you're recording is not very nice. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this look of my Messor ants, and I'll be bringing you a new review next week, followed by an ant video. Thanks a lot guys, and I'll catch you next time.